live now.
All right, welcome everyone. Welcome from everyone, wherever you are. I know we're live streaming on a few different platforms. So I'm gonna get started with the event today. So today, this I think is our fourth event, our third or fourth event, continuing Omdena's career advice events. Today we're gonna have super interesting guests. We're gonna talk about essential roles. So the guests that we have today are our chapter leads. I'm going to tell you what that means in a moment. Omdena's chapter leads. But let me just start with telling you what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk about essential roles and skills that many AI and data science jobs would prefer, like project management and product management, and as well as soft skills that you need to develop along with your hard skills. But just before diving in, if you guys are not aware with this series of events that we've been hosting, I'll just tell you a little bit about Omdena. So we're a bottom-up collaborative AI development platform. We're a global community of change makers from all over the world come together and build innovative and ethical AI solutions to some of the world's most pressing real-world problems. We partner with NGOs, social enterprises, and impact-driven startups from all over the world to be able to tackle those problems. So I'm really excited to be here today facilitating this event with Omdena and our community. Like I said, the speakers that we have today are our chapter leads. So Omdena launched local chapters in April of 2021 with the objective of spreading education or educating through collaborating on real world problems. And at this point in time, we have 45 chapters on all continents of the world. And we've completed, scheduled, or have upcoming 30 open source challenges and projects that our chapter leads are running. And today on this call, we have 4 of them who already have completed challenges and run them successfully with some really cool prototypes. So let me just introduce them quickly. We have Rashda Salim, who's the Iraq chapter lead. She is a computer engineer graduate and has experience in web and Android apps development. She has participated in a number of computer vision projects with us. I think it's 3 or 4, maybe even, while performing various management tasks, and is a writer and co-writer of several articles. We also have Naufal Rahali. He's our Moroccan chapter lead. Naufal is a computer engineer with a large experience in international HR management. He's passionate about the impact of AI and machine learning in our daily lives, and he's working to make this field accessible for people and businesses to make a positive impact. We have Mohamed Amma, who's the Egypt chapter lead. Mohamed is a machine learning engineer and an AI product manager. In early 2020, Mohamed joined Omdena's community to impact and to do AI for good. Mohamed's goal is to fulfill the gap between business and AI technologies, where he can support next generation project growth and success. And then finally, we have 2 more. One is Opiemi Taiwo Adinaran. She's our Lagos, Nigeria chapter lead. She is a computer engineer and certified data science professional. She advocates for tech development in her community and also empowers people with the latest IT skills. She led her AI team in a 4-week challenge with great enthusiasm to develop a model that can be implemented in delivering sustainable energy in Nigeria. More about that soon. And then finally, we have Albert Eimol. He's our Philippines chapter lead. He has over 8 years of experience with data science, both in academic research and industry applications. He's an advocate for using technology, mostly open source, to promote social development and nationalism, and also teaches data science and its applications, focusing on human-centered design and data ethics. So I'm very happy to have all of you guys here. Before we get started and dive into the different questions that you guys can tackle and inform all of the people watching, I'm going to let you introduce your challenges that you were running. So we have 3 challenges that were run by these chapter leads. The Arabic chapter leads, Egypt, Morocco, and Iraq, they ran one together. And then Philippines and Nigeria, they ran their own. So I guess I can stop here and then let the Arabic chapter leads just give us an intro into their challenges and what they've solved.
Yeah, okay. I'll start since the same order you started with, Lucy. So hello, everyone. This is Rasha. I am the Iraq chapter lead, and I was leading the project, co-leading the project with my colleagues, Mohammed and Naufal, to build an NLP Arabic for Arabic text and NLP processing library for Arabic text, and I'm happy to share my experience with you all. Mohammed, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think we did the same project, so
yeah.
That's a wonderful introduction.
All right,
Okay.
maybe, yeah, go ahead, Albert.
Sure. Hi guys, I'm Albert. I'm the lead for the Philippines chapter. For the recent project that we finished in Omdena, Philippines, we explored on the accessibility of renewable energy in the country by looking at satellite data, available satellite data, climate data, and socioeconomic indicators. So at the end of the project, we're able to create a model that recommends priority areas to build solar microgrids. So we were able to deploy the model to a web application that is open access together with our source code on GitHub that is also open source. So other organizations can adapt, learn, and improve from our methodologies. That's it.
Cool. Opiemi?
Okay, so we did the same project and then somehow similar. And then, okay, so what we did, let me just have a bit of what we did. We focused on identifying areas in Nigeria with top energy demand. And the energy demand to us includes areas with no electricity where we have population. So our model was built and focused on identifying areas in Nigeria without electricity access, but where we have population. Okay, so that's just yeah.
Thank you. So thanks for that. And just before we get into it, what does it mean to be a chapter lead? It means not only, being the face of the chapter, right? But there's many roles that you take on as a chapter lead. You think about the local problems that you want to solve. You look if there's some partnerships that you can make within your local communities. You engage your team and you run and lead the projects. You build your team in order to promote the different projects that you're running. So there's a lot of different skill sets and a lot of different roles required to be a chapter lead. And so you can rest assured that these people on this call have a lot of different skills to demonstrate and talk about today. All right, so let's get started with the first kind of talking point that I'd want to address. And the way that this will work is that I'll pose a question and then the chapter leads can come in and just answer them, and we'll talk about them for a bit and then move on. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A session as well. So make sure to pose your questions. All right, so the first question: how is it to lead an AI-related project for weeks with a big number of collaborators? Anybody can go ahead.
Yeah, Mohammed, I think you can go ahead with that.
Okay, sure. Actually, it was a great experience when I submitted my first proposal to Omdena's community, asking to run like the first kind of project to build an NLP libraries that support the Arabic language. I had some doubts about how to attract the local talents and how to convince them to join such a project. So in the Arabic chapters, we cooperated together and joined forces to have to establish partnerships with different local organizations and NGOs, so that we can get and outsource some talents from outside Omdena to run such a project.
Yeah, and just one thing to add here, the most challenging part was motivating the collaborators and making the problem as clear as possible, so to avoid any confusion, especially with the large number of collaborators on projects. So yeah, we tried different things to keep them motivated, whether by sharing our experiences or just by giving them guidance to the project. So yeah, that was something also great.
And just to give some context, so when we talk about big number of collaborators, we're talking about anywhere between 50 and 90 people who are working and collaborating on these projects. So for those of you who don't know, it's bottom up and collaborative, the environment, so there's no top down management, but you still need to motivate and engage people like Rasha said. So what about you, Albert and OPME? You guys were running your chapters alone. How was that?
Right. For our case, we had a month for the project. Initially around 100 collaborators, like 98, I think, registered for the project. So the challenge really was handling the complexity of communication and establishing clear norms of work. I learned from the experience that I had that for short course projects, it is better if the tasks are clearly predefined and the integrations of those tasks are also in the pipeline. So the timelines and milestones should also be transparent so everyone in the team is well informed, so nobody's lost. Personally, since I was handling a big number of collaborators, at the beginning of the project, I was really hands-on in doing the communication or even communicating the micro goals and assigning task leaders. But as the project progressed, I just let self-organization do its magic and handle the rest.
Okay, so for my own hand, I was able to work with a large number of people. At first, it was challenging because it was my first meeting people and learning about their areas of specialization. And being the fact that I have been advocating that even if you are joining, even if you are new to data science, you're welcome. And so the categories of set of people I have are people that are new. And so it was a bit challenging. And so what I did was to first understand their area of specialization, try to get people try to understand people and see their level of engagement, see if they are very interested, see people that are interested in developing their career in data science. And I also check people that are highly skilled, that have experience. So from there, I was able to assign roles based on how they are interested in developing their career and also based on their area of specialization or their experience.
I think those are some really good points. So what I was hearing from Albert is kind of structure it out in a way so that people know what they're doing, have a timeline, make sure that, you know, people aren't just like floundering and figuring out, since these are educational, right? More than anything. And then from Rasha, engagement is key. You need to be able to motivate people and make them, you know, interested to work together. OPME, I know that you were talking about identifying the skills within your team, and I'd be interested to know, like, how big was your team and how did you identify those skills? And then also, how did you help them meet their different goals? I know you ran some workshop sessions and TED Talks. I think that would be interesting to hear.
Yes, very well. Okay, yeah, so how I was able to identify potentials, I went through the arithmetic, I went through the list of registered student members. Based on their skill sets, some think that they are highly experienced, and so I reach out to those that are highly experienced. I send them a message, then and I ask them also that I would love to know their area of specialization. And so many of them were opened up, they were open to me. And so I said, okay, since I have people that are highly skilled in some aspects, then I would definitely assign roles based on that, their area of specialization. Then how I was able to help people that have the zeal to help people. So I realized that, okay, now I have two categories of people that are highly skilled, people that have the zeal, three, people that are highly skilled, people that have the zeal to learn, to develop their career, and people that are just there, they just need a push. They are just there, they are interested. And so what I did was that I created a Google form for people to fill their areas of where they need to learn. And many of them feel like, I'm new to data science, I want to learn everything. Then I realized that, okay, for each of our tasks, for each of our weekly tasks, I need to organize tech talk, I need to organize tech training to educate people so that we can organize workshop training for people that are experienced. And we can also organize tech talk and introductory conversation on different aspects based on our areas of specialization, based on our weekly goals. And so that was how I was able to manage them. So I told them that, okay, for every of the week, we are going to be organizing training. And so each of the training, we bring in different people to educate us based on our weekly goals. So that was how I was able to help people that are new. And also I was able to educate and empower people that are highly potential, that are highly skilled. And that was also how I was able to motivate people that have the zeal to develop their career.
Wow, that's amazing. So you basically just, looked at all of the members that you have within your project, and you found a way to be able to have them learn from each other, right? Teach each other and learn from each other while solving the problem. I think yours was renewable energy in Nigeria. Cool.
Yes.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else to talk about, managing such a big number of people? Anything that somebody hasn't mentioned already? Or something maybe that you want to add to what each of you said, or we can move on to the next section. All right, cool. All right, next section is, what are the soft skills that you developed through this experience? So this is more about you guys as chapter leads. What are some of those skills that you were able to develop through this experience?
Okay, I can start. So during this challenge, I learned more about how to join forces with others and how to be open to other chapters. So instead of running this challenge by myself, I decided to cooperate with Russia and her Iraq chapter, and also with Naufal and his Morocco chapter. And all three of us, with people from the three different countries, we joined together just to solve one challenge, to build the Arabic NLP sources. And it was we had a huge impact for that, and it was very critical to achieve the final deliverable.
Yes, and also we used to collaborate on collaboration on the project itself, working on technical stuff, but collaborating as project owners is something it was new, and I didn't know what to expect. But it was really great experience because I can honestly say each one of us added something unique that the other didn't have, or they weren't aware of. So every time we were telling each other something, or having ideas to again motivate the collaborators, or just ideas about the project itself and how the future or the results should be. So yeah, collaborating as project owners was a really great experience, and learned a lot from.
All right, so working together as a team to lead something, right? That's a pretty good skill to have.
Exactly, yeah.
Albert, you were about to say something.
Right. So for me, one thing that I learned is that AI leaders or AI project managers should be a T-type person, meaning you should be at least an expert in one specific domain, but you should also be able to communicate to other disciplines, or if not, at least you know who to ask, right? So for example, we had a task group on integration that handles model deployment. So at least you need to be aware of the tools and the jargon so you can identify action points. Another soft skill that I learned throughout the process is good data translation or science communication. Since we are working with cross-functional and cross-cutting teams, you need to be able to translate the jargons into digestible bits of information, so there is less friction in task execution. So everything is all clear.
So it's not all about the technical skill, right? Like you're saying the technical skill is something that you should possess or you need to possess, but you should also kind of have a wide range of skill. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Cool. Anyone else?
Okay, so I would love to talk about the flexibility aspect. You must learn to be flexible. I learned how to be flexible because I realized that I can push people beyond their limits. And then, so I learned to be flexible. I learned to listen to people. And I also you know, we have to
I think we're having some technical issues, right? Okay, maybe someone else wants to take. Opiemi, you're having
so
cutting.
that was what I learned. I learned, yeah, problem solving.
Okay, go ahead. We see you again. You were just cutting off. Can you repeat yourself?
Okay. So what I learned to be flexible, to be able to adjust to people's timing, not to force people beyond their limits, and yet still encourage and motivate them that they can actually multitask. I also learned problem solving skills also, because you have to learn to break down the tasks into achievable units so that people you are communicating with, they can understand you, they can know what to do at the right time. What is the goal of this week project? What are we achieving? How do we achieve it? And so I learned that. So.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so being a leader, you need to be able to motivate the people and also identify when the people have reached their limits, right? To not push them further. That's very important. I just want to mention that we have some interesting questions coming in, but we'll answer them in the Q&A sessions, right? So we're still going to continue a little bit with this discussion. Mohammed, do you have some thoughts to add?
Yeah, for me, in order, also, as I mentioned before, it's important to join forces. Also, how to divide the roles between us, because me, Naufal, and Rasha were collaborating together. So instead of doing the exact same thing like together, we decided during our challenge to divide the roles between us. Basically, Rasha and Naufal was more involved with the collaborators, and for myself, I was the link between the Omdena community and the challenge. So it was it make things easier for us. So we didn't consume too much time to manage or follow people during the challenge. So it was more than regular work or something that as a routine that we are doing on a daily basis.
All right, thank you. I think some good ideas came out of this this question. So thanks for that. Let's move on to the next one. Let's talk a little bit about, now we talked about what you guys learned, what you developed, the good experiences that you had, but I think it's important to also touch on the difficulties that you faced during the projects and also how you solved them. Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first.
Okay.
All right. Since this was the first project that we did, I think it took some time to learn the quirks of the general work ethics of the team. I think this hampered the momentum a bit at the start, but eventually it catch up at the middle. So what worked, I think, to combat this activation energy problem is I initiated a town hall, quote unquote. So basically, it is just an online room where people can join to work in parallel and even have breakout rooms for targeted conversations and code along sessions. I think that process really humanized our approach, since in the town hall, we did not only talk about technical things, but we also shared about music. We talked about life and our mental health. Of course, we're having our full-time jobs and also doing this part-time. And I think this project had, we had some conversations on even how this project led us to each other and even how we can collaborate in future work. So yeah, that's it.
Opiemi, how about you?
Yeah, so one of the most challenging aspects was getting an expert domain to help us, to educate us. Just like what I said, the categories of set of people that we have in Lagos, Nigeria are new, people that are new. And so we need to educate ourselves. We need to organize workshop training. And so the aspect that I can say is more challenging is getting data out, a bit technical, let me just talk a bit technical, is getting data out of image, getting data out of image and analyzing it. So at first, I've never worked on that before. How can you get data from an image
Let's wait a moment till she comes back.
And so I'll do what okay, so
can you
hear me now?
go ahead? Yeah, go ahead with how to
okay,
get data out of it.
Okay, so it was a bit difficult for us to get data out of an image. Like we have never done something like that before. How can I get data out of an image? That was a bit challenging. So what do we need to do? What skills do we need to learn? Who can help us out on this? So I reached out to Abat. There was a time I reached out to Abat because I know he has done something similar like that. He has handled attacks like that. So I believe he's going to help me out on this. And so that was that aspect was a bit challenging. And so we were able to like do from a research, reach out to people that can help us and see how we can get our data, how we can achieve that goal. And so we were able to do that. And then that I can say it was a bit challenging to me. And then, yeah, we were able to achieve that at last.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point to mention is that Opeyemi and Albert, Nigeria and Philippines chapter actually did the same project, but in different communities, right? So they were working on renewable energy access in Nigeria and also in Philippines. In Philippines, I believe it was because your electricity bills were rising over the past few months a lot. And then in Nigeria, there's just a lot of communities that don't have access to electricity, right? So yeah. I think it would be interesting to talk. Did you guys talked a little bit, right? Did you face the same challenges? So Opeyemi was kind of got some help from Albert about, extracting images, but did you have any other similar challenges that you were facing, and were you able to kind of collaborate on those?
Not really like that, because just like what you said, our end product was finding areas in Nigeria without electricity access. Their own focus was quite different.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a bit different.
All right. What about you guys, Mohammed and Rasha?
Okay. It was like quite difficult to lead more than 80 collaborators from 10 different countries, especially when you run an open source project for 2 months and the whole the team are totally working remotely, separated in different countries. So it was critical to keep them motivated and engage them regularly to keep progress and keep working on the project. And for that reason, me, Rasha, and Naufal worked on how to remove boundaries between the team and how to add milestones for the project and highlight every single achievement. So I remember that when we made our of one weekly calls open for the community, for everyone to join us and see the progress that we have done so far. This is the first problem. The second one was when we have that large amount of people together in one place, things run to be like a mess. So how the problem was how to control and organize all these all these tasks and people to get to get a functional project or functional output. So it was critical to organize them and also motivate them.
Yeah, I'd just like to add here, for me personally, just like Opeyemi mentioned, it was flexibility. So it was like, how can you balance between your expectation and the team skills, the collaborative skills? This was something always I was worried about, even though we ended up they exceeded our expectations. So that was really great in the end.
I agree.
Yeah, I was always okay, what they can do and what they can there's this line that are we asking too much? But yeah, that was for me that keeping this balance and flexibility, and yeah, they ended up doing really great.
All right. So if you just, before we move on to the next section, can each of you say one skill that you learned in order to be able to face those difficulties?
Good planning.
Okay. Good planning.
Yeah. For me, it was actually giving them trust and like they can handle it. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Letting go of control. Letting go
Exactly,
of control.
just a bit, letting go, and they just let them handle, and they will really do great.
Okay.
I just want to say something, guys. I will like I'll steal a lot of things that you just said, and I have my kickoff meeting in 30 minutes. My final chapter for the second project. So yeah, and I'm stealing the things you said, and I'll apply them.
You're
right
taking,
now.
yeah, they're taking all of the knowledge now to be able to go to your next chapter.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, I'll I'll have to prepare, and so I'll have to leave you in here in the middle of the event now, and Mohammed will cover the rest.
Yeah, good luck, Rasha. I'm here to support you.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Albert and
guys.
Opiemi. So we have good planning. We have let go of control. Bye, Rasha.
Okay, effective communication is what I'm going to say that I learned.
Okay.
You have to be able to let people know what they need to do, and the goal we want to achieve for today, for this week. So effective communication is what I can say I was able to learn, because people keep asking questions. What do you want us to do? What are we achieving? So I realized that we have to be, you have to communicate effectively, let people know what they need to do, what they want to do, and how we can go about it. So effective communication is what I learned.
So we have effective communication, good planning, let go of control. And Albert, what about you?
I think for me, what works is human-centered design, humanizing the process of learning artificial intelligence, really like help us manage our expectations, our mental health, and our capacity to collaborate effectively.
Awesome. I love that one. All right. So then let's go to our final question, which is, I think very relevant to the session and also the people watching it. How does the experience affect your AI career? Anybody can go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Actually, this experience helped me a lot, and as a result, I was able to have my second round of creating open source AI projects. And today I have like my second weekly call with my team, and for that reason, now we are focusing on finding like an innovative solutions to reduce the waste of fresh water in Egypt, because it become like a critical issue here, and we are trying to save the Nile.
Amazing. So you're able to work on problems that are super close to you and your community, where you're from. And I think that's incredible, right? So that's kind of our philosophy is if you collaborate on problems that mean something to you and your community, then you're more motivated to learn so that you're able to solve them, right?
Yes, and for this challenge, we got like a double number of collaborators rather than the first one. And the most interesting thing that we have people from 20 different countries, from Japan to USA, just to save the Nile water. So it was like an amazing thing to have.
The biggest percentage of the collaborators are from Egypt, right? And
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And what about you, Opiemi and Albert?
Okay, so for my end, I was able to learn how to oversee the total development of projects from data science projects, from the start to the finish, and which I believe that that's the work of a product manager. And so I can say that it has added to my skill sets, and I'm hoping that, okay, I can develop a career in that field also, to become a product manager. I can develop my skill in that aspect. So it has been, yeah, so I can say that it has affected my career positively, and I've added something new to what I have.
All right, Albert, what about you?
Right. So for the first project, it really like inspired us more to solve problems collectively. I echo the sentiments that my teammates and fellow collaborators had, that indeed the future is collaborative innovation, and there is power in numbers and collective wisdom. now we receive more opportunities to encourage citizen science and even drive data culture in the country where superstition is the basis of a lot of things that we believe. We even had conversations right after the project presentation on the next topics to tackle, which is on computational propaganda on the upcoming Philippine election. So that's really like exciting for a lot of us in the space. On other opportunities, energy organizations, since our previous project is about energy, renewable energy access, energy organizations in the country even asked for our models and offered to hire some of our collaborators. So we really had that increase of interface on opportunities to the fellow collaborators. And through the first project, I also got invited to talk about artificial intelligence globally and locally. And that really means a lot from us coming from the Philippines, which is an underrepresented community in terms of technology. At least now we are part of the conversation and even solutions in building better and trustworthy artificial intelligence.
Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations, Albert. That sounds like some good progressions. And also I'm happy that you were able to, expand the knowledge worldwide. Another one question that I did have, or one point that I want to make is, it seems, through all of your experiences, you guys focus less on kind of like technical aspects, right? So do you think that, to develop yourself in AI and your careers, it's not just about the technical skill, right? Or that's what I'm hearing. It's leading with all these different roles like project management, promoting the challenges, all of that, kind of also gave you something to your AI career, or what do you think? Would you agree with that?
Yes, totally.
Okay, so it's not just about like learning the best models and the best algorithms to get things done.
No.
All right.
I think now is the time to really humanize artificial intelligence. We always echo these sentiments from the community that when building technologies, we need to treat it as extensions of our humanities. So technology is not an abstract thing, but we need to think of end users, and the end users of these technologies are human beings. So we need to be aware of like the social aspect of things, the skills that we need to communicate properly and translate the technologies for it to be useful in an ethical way that people can integrate with their lives.
All right. So let's bring human back to AI, or let's bring the humans out of AI. All right, cool. So I think that kind of sums up the things that we touched on, right? So we touched on how it is to actually manage such large amounts of people, the different strategies that you guys use to be able to manage the people, what soft skills that you guys learned, what difficulties you guys face and how you came around it. And then finally, how this experience has actually furthered your AI careers or opened other doors for yourself based on the different kind of aspirations that you had. So I think we can open it up. I think there's a lot of good questions that came in. We can open it up to the Q&A. So let's start with the first one that came in from the audience. It's interesting. How did you guys identify the technical skills task leaders over time? Have you already in mind or just identified over the weeks? How helpful were the respective workshops? So I think we did answer that question, right? Is, they had an oversight of who was part of their challenges. They identified the different skills. We have some questions on our applications to identify what skills they have. So OPME just reached out to them and asked them. But I think we can answer the question of how helpful were the respective workshops. So a few of you guys had some workshops organized. Were they helpful to your members? What do you guys say?
Yes, I would say that the workshops are very, very helpful because at the end of the day, we are able to achieve the tasks. And many of us, just like what I said, the categories of people are beginners, and yet we are able to achieve it. So the workshop was very effective. Very, very, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of natural to if you design a workshop for something, then we would assume that it's helpful. So hopefully good to hear that it was helpful. Okay, next question is, how should a team be managed to maintain the mental health of team members? So I think Albert might be able to speak to that one.
I mentioned a while ago about the concept of the town halls. Because remember, when doing machine learning models, you need to be exposed with the correct data set, right? So it's my way of like figuring out how they felt about how the project was being done, how tasks are being executed. So the good thing about the project that we had is that this town halls that we had is also like a way for us to talk, not about the project alone, but also our like current work status, or if we're like studying. So we talked about it and even had conversations on possibly solving mental health problems even in the country, in the context of the country, and how we can solve it using, try to solve it using AI. So again, it all rings back to the concept of humanizing the process of learning AI, having conversations, human conversations. Because again, we're working in a pandemic. All of us are like secluded for more than a year now in our own homes. So having that kind of medium and platform for people to like engage and talk is already like a way for us to help on mental health awareness.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the mental health thing is definitely a big topic, and it's very important to maintain that with whatever team that you're managing. All right, so another question is, does anybody else struggle with consistency? So I think this is more about like learning data science skills. What are some of the ways to keep things interesting when you're just building up on your baseline knowledge about machine learning? It gets pretty overwhelming so often.
You don't have to shoulder the world. That's why we have like this collaborative platform. It gets easier with numbers, right? If you divide and conquer, some topics in AI is really overwhelming. Like you need like to enroll in university courses to understand it. But if you course it through collaborative learning, then it becomes easier to manage. So I think owning your own learning, but also learning, sharing the things that you've learned also help in the process of making it easier and bearable.
Anybody else have something to add to that? No? Okay. All right, thanks. So then we have a few questions about joining chapters. So can I join chapters from other countries? Yes, like Mohammed said, he had over 20 countries in his Egypt chapter, right? So you can just go to our website. We can put the link in the chat. Rehab, maybe you can put the link in the chat. You can join, yeah, you can apply to whatever chapter that you want. Of course, that chapter will probably have the highest percentage from the local community, but if you're interested in solving that problem, then definitely join. Every chapter has people from all over the world. That's kind of where the ethical part of building the solution comes in, that you have people from different backgrounds solving the problems. Two more questions about joining chapters. Sir, can we join as a fresher? Yes, all, as OPME mentioned, all skills are welcome. The chapter leads invest their time in, you know, facilitating workshops and stuff like that, so that people learn from each other. And that's kind of how it works. So definitely whatever level you are, you can join and learn. What are the requirements for being accepted to a chapter? Again, you know, you can submit an application, and you'll whatever skill set that you have, you'll be able to collaborate in one of our projects. One more question here is, are there any tips on how to encourage participants to engage with tasks that are less popular but need doing to meet the challenge? That's a good point. Does somebody want to take that one up? So like if you have a task and a challenge that's less interesting, people don't really want to work on it, probably the data cleaning part. Is there any way to engage them and encourage them to work on it?
Yes, there's okay. So I would love to answer that. One of the best ways to encourage people to take up such tasks is you doing it. So that I told you that I was able to like try to understand the problem and break it down into tasks. And so when I realized that people are not interested in the task, so I decided to put myself, be the task leader for that task. Then while I work, I drop the process. Then I let people know about what I've done so far. And so it's somehow in one way or the other encourages people and challenges people that, wow, they want to build themselves also, they want to learn something. So I think one of the best ways that you can
We'll wait another moment till her network gets back.
As is you as a chapter lead. Okay, so the best method that I can prefer is that you as a chapter lead, you take up the challenge, try and solve it, and from there people get encouraged and they join you in the task.
All right, so put yourself there first, you know, like see where there's missing some people, put yourself there, encourage people to join you as, you know, the project leader, and then that's kind of what motivates them and shows them the importance of actually what's going on. Okay. Albert, do you have something to add to that, or?
Sure. We are working on the theory of uneven development. So I think Karl Marx mentioned that the best teacher is experience. So in the pipeline of doing data science, machine learning, or artificial intelligence, 60 to 80% are on doing menial tasks like data cleaning, data preparation. So by just identifying who in the team needs those skills, identifying who would benefit most from doing those things and encouraging them that, hey, if you do these things, then you are able to like learn more about the data science process and dirtying your hands with data and learning from it. That would be like the optimized like method of learning from it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I think we have another question, which will be another one coming in, says, what will be very motivating to lead or manage a project rather than keep coding? So I think the question is, like, what was your motivation to lead a chapter? Like, why not, or lead a project? Why not just keep coding and develop your technical skills?
Okay, I can answer this. What really motivated me personally, because I realized that the local communities come with its local challenges. So, and if instead of doing everything by myself, imagine that I would try to go and like code every single line for building that library. So instead, if I invited more people to join me and share the same vision with me, it would be like much more better to accomplish something. So.
Does anyone else have something to add? All right. Are there any other questions from the audience? Yeah.
I can add something. I think for me, my goal for Omdena project is enablement. So we need to enable more people to create the solutions, because we're working on the premise of not being messianic to solve everything on your own. But if you have more brain cells working on things, right? Remember, in deep learning, if you have more hidden layers, then our guess is that the better the system is. Because you have more like elements working on the problems, you have more inputs. Yeah, so enablement was my goal. But even though that I am working more on the project management side, I also like ensure to do quality assurance of the output of the team. So I usually sit at the end of the pipeline to just check that each of the code output of the tasks are at par with the industry standards.
All right, interesting. Okay, I have another question coming in. So one is about, you know, since the topic is how to effectively lead an AI project, I think a good question to answer would be, you all are kind of demonstrating through how being a chapter lead and running your own AI projects is a good way to like learn that skill. Do you have any recommendations for other ways? Like, let's say you don't want to lead a chapter or you don't want to run AI projects, but how to develop skills to at some point effectively lead an AI project, whether it's a collaborative one or just like a two-person one. Do you have any recommendations to give or some insights? Anybody?
Could it be like an, I don't want to make like an advertisement for other courses or?
Of course, whatever works for you.
Yeah, okay. One of the things that helped me to like develop these skills, I got the Udacity Nano degree for building like for AI product managers. So It was more focused about the whole AI project and connecting pieces together, and not just the coding part, but also how to deal with other teams, how to join cross-functional teams, and focus on the final deliverables. All these things together helped me a lot to like take the initiative and become a project manager with Omdena.
All right, thanks for that. So does anybody else have anything else to add to that last point? Otherwise, we can wrap it up. Oh, I see. Maybe we have one more question coming in. So anybody has anything else to add, or we move on to the next question?
I think you can also like start small, but the goal is really like to work in the open. You can start small, for example, just buying a book, for example, and then like asking a friend, hey, do you want to co-study with me? Then micromanage first, like both of you studying the same concepts or solving a similar problem. But yeah, if you don't want to overwhelm yourself, just start small and then build up.
All right, cool. Thanks for that. All right, so the next question that came in is, if I have an idea about a project and if I need to share it, whom do I contact? For now, whatever idea that you have, if it's related to local chapters or not, you can send us an email, and Rehab will add the email address contact@omdena.com. You can send an email, and you can tell us about your project idea, whether it's for local chapters or for our core challenges and projects that we solve. So Rehab will share that email address. Next is, considering that we want to be a part of Omdena, do we need to have a degree in computer science to be a part of it? No, definitely not. You do not have to have any sort of degree. If you have the motivation to learn, the willingness to learn, and have some, yeah, Albert just said he's from a physics background. Maybe Albert, yeah, he can answer that, because I think he has a good viewpoint about that as well.
Right, so no need for like very specific concentration of specialization. Again, the goal I think for Omdena project is to decentralize the knowledge, to democratize the knowledge. So we appreciate it if more from different backgrounds can be part of the data or the fourth industrial revolution, because then it will have more inputs of a more holistic solution.
Exactly. So that's pretty much the gist of joining our projects. We welcome anybody. If you lack any type of technical skill, definitely join our local chapters. That's where you can get a little bit educated and work on those problems under our, the same way that Omdena solves problems, which is bottom-up collaboration. And then you can join our core challenges as well. So there's always room for anybody to join Omdena. All right, so I think that kind of wraps up all of the questions that we have. I don't see any new ones coming in, but I really wanted to thank everyone for joining, and also the chapter leads to share their knowledge. I think some really good insight came out of this based on, what they've been through, what they've learned, how they're managing their teams, and also how it's affecting their careers. I'm just going to finish it up with, I think Rehab shared links on the different platforms of, if you're interested in joining a chapter, either as a chapter lead or a member, there's a link for you to be able to apply. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. This event will be available on YouTube as well, so you'll be able to watch it again. And that's about it. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the next career-related event that we'll be hosting soon. So maybe Albert and Mohammed, do you have like final words to say before we end?
Join us.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And
all right. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Hope to see everyone soon. Bye.